contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the World Heavyweight
Podcast.
We're gonna make
The World Heavyweight Podcast
great again! Nerd! Nerd!
Entering the ring at this time, your tag team champions of the podcast world, Howard Farewell. But we're just waiting for the wheels to fall off. Yes, 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 yes. Get rid of your six-sided ring array. Josh Rivera.
God does not want this podcast to happen.
You happy I brought my shovel to bury this segment?
What station is it again? Who gives a fuck?
Yabba dabba, shut the fuck up.
The World Heavyweight Podcast.
I don't care how big, how tough, or what they've accomplished. They're nerds.
Plus, if you have ovaries, prepare to lose them.
Welcome, everybody. It's another episode of the World Heavyweight Podcast, recording on a Monday, though. So happy Memorial Day. I already can't talk. We're off to a wonderful start. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. I'm Howie Farewell, as always. But joining me this week, I didn't even actually pitch this as an idea yet, so I'm going to pitch it right now. Possibly a crossover episode between the Obtuse Angles Podcast and the World Heavyweight Podcast here. I'm Howie Farewell. But that over there is Kyle Fields. You normally hear him on the Obtuse Angles Podcast or on some Midwest radio FM station out there, wherever you may be. How you doing?
Yeah, you know what? Sure, crossover episode sounds good. Yeah, whatever
well,
radio station.
We heard the big man was laid up for a bit.
Yes, man. Yeah. So for the uninitiated, and goodness knows who hasn't, religiously listened to the Obtuse Angles podcast
if you
for the past
haven't,
3+ years now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jeremy, my cohort, my tag team partner, my lover brother from another much larger mother. I haven't even seen his mother. I'm sure she's a wonderful human being. He was sick. He was in the hospital. He had some kidney issues. Apparently, there was, I guess, according to him, if you have a kidney stone that's 4 millimeters or under,
oh my God,
they can break it up. Right. But if it's above 4, then they can't, and they have to do surgery. And his was at least 8. Now, he originally told me,
oh my God, that's huge.
It's huge. Yeah. So he originally told me the kidney stone was 8 millimeters, but then it became 9. So I don't know if it's like a fishing story where every time he tells me, like every time he tells the story, the kidney stone gets bigger. Eventually it's going to be as big as a watermelon or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, so
the size of a grapefruit, I swear.
Yeah, exactly right. It's still in there, by the way. It's still in there. Here's the thing. And we already talked about it on the newest episode of the show, which, by the way, drops. It's already dropped by the time you're listening
cool. I
to
haven't
this.
seen it yet.
obtuseangles.libsyn.com, iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and everywhere in between. But Jeremy, and this is the one thing that we didn't mention on that episode, so you're getting an exclusive here.
Ooh,
for like 3 months, Jeremy has been complaining to me, off the air every time, we talk. He's like, oh my God, my side hurts, man, my side. And I was like, dude, you should go to the fucking doctor about that. Probably. Oh, I don't need to go, man. So now look what happened. He was laid up in the hospital. So I guess, your kidneys, I just learned this because I didn't pass second grade biology. Your kidneys filter out many of the toxins in your body.
Yes,
when you have a kidney stone and that kidney stone is lodged and it's preventing that from happening, you can go septic. And that's what happened.
It can be pretty rough. I had one of my own about almost a decade ago at this point. But yeah, it was like 2 millimeters, and it was the most excruciating pain in my entire life, to the point where, like, they even say women who have it that are pregnant say that it's worse than childbirth. So I can only imagine what 8 or whatever he said was like, because that can fuck up your entire system if you don't get that taken care of.
Oh, no, absolutely. And 2, you have to imagine, just with how small his, his comedically small penis is, there's not a lot.
I hadn't thought about that as well, because you have to figure, shapes. I'm also maybe a little big for this as well. I apologize, everybody.
That's okay.
It's Memorial Day. I'm doing my tribute to the troops in my own way.
Right, you're doing your godly duty to celebrate the spirit of America by smoking what is technically not legal yet.
In some places, depends on where you are.
But not where I am, and probably what you're in Jersey or New York, so it's not legal there either, right?
We'll if you're a fan of the show, we'll leave it at that.
Oh.
I'm not going to give that away right now. After I'm not. I played the fifth.
Okay, well, I'm so behind on my tapes for you guys, so I'll catch up and then I'll. But yeah. So Jeremy was laid up. His body went septic. The infection
More
was
so than normal, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. The infection was circulating throughout his body. He was having fever dreams, apparently, because the progression of Jeremy's sickness happened like this. I didn't know he was sick, and then he sent me a text message. It was a selfie, him mugging for the camera in a hospital bed. I'm thinking he's okay. And then the next day I talked to him and he's like, oh man, I went septic. And then the next day he's like, it's getting pretty bad, man. So I'm thinking he's going to die.
We go from 0 to 100 in the span of 3 days. Like, this is why I'm also have to probably take your advice that you gave to him, because I've been ignoring about 7 or 8 different of my own ailments because the VA is just a pain in the ass to go to for a medical system. So I'm just slowly but surely waiting for that one where like the left half of my body goes numb and I'm like, all right, now I have to see a doctor.
Well, yeah. Well, now you said the VA. I didn't realize that you were a veteran. Well,
Yes.
There you go. Very nice. What branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
Well, very nice. How long were you
many moons ago. I signed up right before September 11th.
Oh,
Like 2 months prior, when everything was like in a pre 9/11 world where the entire
bro.
It's like, we're doing, just do this for school. What's the worst that can happen? You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do anything. Well, the worst happened.
Dude, I cannot even imagine what that was like. I got a buddy that the same thing happened to him because, 9/10, everything was peachy fucking keen, right?
Perfectly fine. It was a nice day. Everybody was having a wonderful time.
I mean, there hadn't been a major military conflict on what in the U.S. Since the early 90s with Gulf War
for about
I.
a decade at that point.
And that wasn't even, I mean, I'm not trying to downplay the significance or the danger of Gulf War I, but I mean, comparatively, Gulf War I was a drop in a bucket to
for sure.
Vietnam, World War II. So really, it had been since the fucking, early 70s, and in 2001. So yeah, you were probably thinking, hell yeah, I'll cruise by. Maybe they'll deploy me to some African nation where I can.
Well, I ended up doing the National Guard, so I wasn't really expecting to do a whole lot in general, but I did it more for I'll help out my community, because I wasn't doing anything at the time. I had just dropped out of my first attempt at college, and I really wasn't doing anything. So I figured, all right, let me give back in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot going to be on the horizon anyway, so let me go ahead and do this. And then next thing you know, 2 months later, everything goes to hell. And then in 2005, I spent a year in Iraq.
Ooh, oh yeah. Well, a buddy of mine was also deployed in Iraq. I think Iraq and Afghanistan. He was telling me about that, but he was kind of the same deal. Instead of dropping out of college, he dropped out of high school.
Oh, boy.
And he told me that he apparently went, he signed up for the military because they were offering a free pancake breakfast. and he said that he was hungry, and he said he was like, well, I'm not going to sign
homeless?
up. No, like he was living like at home with his dad or something.
Wanted a free short stack?
Yeah. Well, apparently there were two things. Do you remember the commercial? It was like a pro Navy commercial, and it was like this guy was fighting this CGI lava monster. Do you remember that?
Oh, I think that was a Marines commercial.
That's what it was. Well, he joined the Marines.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
That's right. But that commercial was awesome.
It was.
And
It really was. It just shows you how low sometimes the services will go to try and get you to be in them, like whether it's like something really dirty or just making it look way cooler than it actually is.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I saw it and I was like 16 when it aired or whatever, and I was like, dude, I got to be in the Marines, and then I snapped out of it. But he was very susceptible, or he joined the Marines. But you're talking about the well, first of all, I want to ask you this because I find this fascinating, and then we're going to get back to my little VA story that I have here. 9/11, you're signed up 2 months in, you see the tragedy happen. clearly, your first thought is, oh my God, this is terrible. It's surreal, just the way the rest of us thought. How long did it take for you to register in your mind, oh my God, this is terrible for me?
I don't really think there was a time that I thought that, but
I would.
It was the whole situation. Now that I think about it, it was like, I don't think it really hit me until like days or weeks later that it even happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we're in the shadow of that skyline. So there's your answer from before. There goes the.
I didn't even think about that. Because I saw it in Kentucky. So probably like the rest of the world that was outside of that immediate New York area. I mean, they were. I don't want to say they were just images on a screen.
Right. No, but that's what I have to assume it's like for everybody else, because unless you're there, you have no idea like what anything like that is.
Did you see that shit? Like, did you actually did you step outside of your front porch and look up and there's smoke?
Well, we kind of live in a mountainy area, so there's certain areas, like we're within less than an hour to drive there, so you can see that if you go to the right elevation. And it was just like, it was like a toothless grin is the descriptor that we had for it at the time, because you're so used to, for decades, seeing that same famous skyline, and now it's like somebody punched the front two teeth out. And it's just like you thought these things were going to be around forever.
How ironic that I'm in Kentucky and yet you were the one looking at a toothless grin. What about that? But that's what made me think, though, is that you're talking about how it didn't really register with you, because I remember when 9/11 happened, there were so many people, and including, and I can't remember his names. I'm not a big NFL fan, but there was the NFL player who quit the NFL.
It's blanking on me right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up becoming a Ranger,
and then he died.
Yeah,
right.
Pat Tillman.
And then it was revealed, unfortunately, because he was killed by friendly fire.
Right.
And then the whole scandal was
communication thing. I remember the story, if I'm correct.
My point being, though, is that this guy was undoubtedly a hero because he left a cush, multi-million. Yeah. I mean, just because he saw it happen, and in his mind, he was going to be a hero. He was going to go fight the terrorists. He was going to go support his country, and that's what he did. And tragically, he fell. But again, people like that who were heroes, and when they see moments like that, the terrible tragedy of 9/11, the fact that in their mind they go, I have to go fight these people, is the exact fucking opposite of me. I was thinking I have to drive to Mexico in case they start.
They're coming to Lexington. Everybody run!
Yeah, they're going to take out our one skyscraper.
They're going to take out the Piggly Wiggly. Get your stuff now.
Oh, let me tell you something. Well, you know what? I don't think so.
Is that more of a Southern thing, or is that a Midwest thing? I only know of the Piggly Wiggly. I've never actually been to one.
You know what? I've never actually been in a Piggly Wiggly, to my knowledge, either. I think it's a Southern thing. They were in Eastern Kentucky, not in Central Kentucky. Okay. I'm sure this scintillating grocery store chain talk, though, is just really.
I'm just like I'm also like obsessed about weird places that you sort of see that are like one of those. They're only like locally known sort of spots. The Piggly Wiggly doesn't exist and it's such a stereotypical sort of Southern place that I'm like, I gotta go in one at least once,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, Golden Corral is not near me. I have never seen one before, but if I see one, I'll probably walk in the door. Oh, that's what we did. I was unaware until I went to Denver recently, about a month or two ago with Josh, that if you've ever seen South Park, that Casa Bonita is a real place.
I did not know that.
It is absolutely 100% a real, actual place. What they have on the show is exactly that. Like, it's real to the T. Like, they got the animations down to the cliff. There's cliff divers.
Really?
There's indoor cliff dive. I swear to you, I could not make this up. And it's the most ridiculous thing. The pink awnings and stuff on the outside, like it's exactly the way they depicted in South Park. And it still blows my mind that it's even real. But
the only thing on South Park, other than the Whole Foods and stuff like that, that I know that there's vaguely similar to. They have the peppermint hippo. I do know there is a spearmint rhino titty bar, so I have been there. You ever been to a spearmint rhino?
I have never been. I've never. It's crazy enough that even after my long stand in the military, I've never been to a strip club.
What?
Yeah, I've never been.
Well, hold on. How were you in the military for that long? Like, no, they literally
we went to. I went to Europe a few times, and there's not really strip clubs because you can just pay for it.
Well, there's the red light
window. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you get any hookers in Amsterdam?
There was one trip to Amsterdam. Yes.
There we go. Was she? How much do you pay for it?
They vary in price, believe it or not, depending on. You've never been to Europe? I'm assuming. Or
I've never been to Europe. No, I've been across the country when I hosted the college campus comedy game show, but you were talking about seeing all the cool little shit, the chains. I saw that, but I've never been to Europe. So you went there. The prices vary for the hookers.
Well, when we ended up going, I was in Germany for like a month, and we did this exercise with the European Union, and we had this one weekend off. It was one of the easiest little mission things that we had, where I was doing like 4-hour shifts. Like I would wake up at like 8, go to work and make sure nothing broke for 4 hours, and then spend the rest of my day in Germany. So I'm like, this is great. And then at the end of every night, another country from the little exercise we were doing would throw some party where everybody would get hammered off their minds, because that's kind of what it was. Like there was a night where we had drinking games with the British and Irish military and almost got the cops called on us in a German bar.
Oh, man.
So we go to Amsterdam on one of these weekend trips, and it turns out they have a giant holiday, which is like their one massive drinking day of the year. It's called Queen's Day. It's like if you want to have the greatest crazy party you're going to have, show up to Amsterdam. It's like April 20-something or other, and it's like their one, like the Queen's birthday is what it essentially comes down to, but everybody descends on Amsterdam. It's like a city that holds maybe 1 million people, but like 2 to 3 million show up.
I can't imagine the craziest party day in Amsterdam.
Oh, it's wall-to-wall people. It's a sea of orange and streamers and everything, drinking all day. They even put these, like, you know how in the men's bathrooms you either have a trough or a urinal? Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't have troughs outside like in a porta potty thing, but instead of they had porta potties for the ladies, but they were specifically for the ladies, because if you had to take a deuce, as a guy, you just kind of hopefully didn't have to go, and then you would just find a restaurant or something that would let you. But they had outdoor urinals essentially. And they were an eye-level traffic cone with that's the best way I could say it. It's like an eye-level traffic cone, and they had like little barriers to the left and right of each corner of the cone with a hole about crotch height. And I
think you're thinking of a glory hole. That's what you're thinking of. No, you stuck your dick through and
No, they were everywhere. And like every, I want to say 50, 70 feet or so, you would see these gray things, and they all had like this urine irrigation system somewhere, I guess, that filtered into whatever septic system that they were using, because that's how many people were going to be in the city.
I truly appreciate the outdoor urinal, but I think the concept of one is a little superfluous. What's that word? Superfluous? There we go. Superfluous.
It's just, I guess it's just an easier way for them to kind of, like I said, have that little irrigation system of urine to one place instead of people just peeing all over everywhere. The buildings and into the canal. Because the canal's already dirty as fuck as it is, and you don't want it to get it any worse by, people actively peeing in it, or probably for a safety reason, because the drunken high asshole will trip and fall as they're trying to go into the pee into the whatever and breaks his neck or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, what a sweet way to go. Hey, what happened to Kyle? Man, it was the biggest party day of Amsterdam. He was taking a piss in a dirty lake and he broke his neck. Yeah, they fished him out of the river. He had 9 pounds of weed in his stomach.
That was the one thing that I was not able to do because I was in the Army at the time, so I couldn't do quite as much of the fun stuff.
Amsterdam, you can't smoke weed.
Yeah,
That's like going to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and not able to eat candy.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
There was a couple of places where they had like the menu for mushrooms on the door, and it gives you like a wine list, but instead of having a sommelier, they have a fucking guy that's just done a bunch of mushroom trips, and he's written down his reviews on like each one of the bottom. So it's like, oh, take this mushroom and you'll get these effects, that effects, not for the uninitiated, and all that shit. Yeah. So
I didn't realize the shrooms were legal there too. I thought it was just weed.
I really am not sure on what exactly all the rules are currently, because I'm pretty sure they've changed over the years too.
Well, I know. Did you watch the Trailer Park Boys episode where they went to Amsterdam?
I've not, but it's not the first time somebody's brought it up to me either.
Well, it's really interesting when they go there, and you can't have an establishment that serves alcohol and weed. You can do either or,
separate, I think.
Which is ridiculous. Like you can't. No one's getting a cross buzz here.
Well, that's the thing that I had an issue when we were in Denver, is that there's really, they have this strange thing. I guess it's some of the religious thing to it, I suppose, where they're not allowing like public consumption of marijuana since it's been made legal. So
what?
Yeah, it's one of those, I guess it's a compromise where you can do it in certain places, but you can't do it just right out in the open. People kind of do, and they're sly about it or whatever, but there's like, you can't go to a bar or some public place like that and then also just blaze it while you're there. You have to go to like some specific club. Like there's a couple of different places that you pay like a day membership fee, and then they've got these tables with e-nails for dabbing and papers and whatever you need, all the accoutrement as it were, to get high, and then you just hang out and get high.
Oh, I love that little legal loophole. You said the day membership. That's like when I was doing a comedy show in Arkansas, and it was a dry county, but the hotel had a bar,
right?
But the bar was a club, and in order to drink, you had to be a member of the club. In order to be a member of the club, you like it was a year membership for $1.
It's the exact same thing, where you can get like a year member, but they actually use it for like whatever, like snacks and shit. Like they sell snacks like M&Ms and like little bowls of cereal and shit like that too, like a snack bar sort of thing. But going back to Amsterdam, so we're there and it's just like wall to wall people. Like, and I go to Manhattan regularly, so I'm not unfamiliar what it's like to see a lot of people in one place. This was a lot of motherfucking people in one place at one time. So invariably, since we're there with, coincidentally, a bunch of Marines, they're like, all right, we're going to find booze and get our dicks sucked. Is essentially what it comes down to. So I'm the support class guy, so I'm just along for the ride. And so when you go to the red light, you essentially, it's this one main strip along the canal, and the canal's like Broadway. It's your main street. Only the best and the brightest make it to Broadway, right?
Right.
So
it's
See,
I think I would start off Broadway and I would work my way up.
You probably could do that because the prices are much cheaper, as it were, off Broadway as well. But
now, not to interrupt you, but when you get a hooker in Vegas, like, they've passed all these tests, all these STD tests, they all got like C pluses or whatever, and they're certified right. Are they in Amsterdam as well, or is it the Wild West out there?
No, it's not the Wild West. It's a very strictly regulated thing, from what I gather as well. Like, they regular testing. They've got like their food grade certificate on the wall. They have all that, so you know whether you're taking your life in your own hands on the side. No, I think pretty sure like they have documentation, like a liquor license has to be posted somewhere.
Wow, like when you go into a restaurant here, they have the whole health department thing, but that's hilarious that they have that in Amsterdam.
From what I remember, there were signs at least similar looking to that. I couldn't exactly tell what they say because I don't speak Dutch, but I'm imagining what that is, at least for me.
I think they should just encourage women with STDs just to be hookers, but be honest about it. Like if they have AIDS or syphilis, then it says, "Hey, this is Candy. She's got." So if you have syphilis,
so you're for thrill seeker as well,
right? Then you've got nothing to worry about, or maybe you're into that shit.
Maybe
sign away.
Maybe you like it a little dirty. Maybe you feel like a little funk in your salad.
Yeah, you know what?
You like a
Sign
little
a
funk on
waiver.
your fish.
Yeah, a little funk on your fish. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, screw it, man. Let's try it. I'm going to get it anyway. Yeah, let's see. Roll the dice. So
So
you're with a large group of people, and then you're. And
well,
then
what happened was, I end up hopping in the cab with them, and we drive on over there. But as we get there, because that town for some reason I guess closes early that day, so by almost 1 a.m, all the bars were closing.
I don't. Hold on. Wait a minute. Are you serious? In Amsterdam?
Couldn't make that up. We got there, and it's like the party was just ending.
Now, why does Amsterdam have an earlier last call than Springfield, Illinois? Can you explain that to me?
No idea. I was just visiting for the day, and we were just trying to get inebriated as quickly as humanly possible. So they ended up buying, like, since it's the home of Heineken, they ended up buying, like, I want to say 60 Heineken, like 2 cases worth, out of the back of some guy's truck. And we proceeded for the rest of the evening to kind of pass that backpack of booze around all evening, and so getting drunk through the streets of Amsterdam. And then we all met up. With all of a sudden, I see them with like this Sherpa backpack full of beer, and then we kind of make our way to the red light district.
I would almost think that you say a Sherpa backpack full of beer, you would need a Sherpa to go through Amsterdam. You know, like how you have the locals who lead you up the mountain and make sure that you don't free. Like you would need someone to go, no, don't do these drugs. No, don't fuck this chick.
No, we didn't. We avoided that at all costs. We were just a bunch of dumb American military dudes trying to get drunk and party it up.
Sure.
And then one by one, everybody eventually chose their pick, and we just had our time. I think it varied from. I think that how we started this was how much. It depends on the person. Like if you have one of those off-Broadway ones, it could be anywhere from like €10 for like whatever amount of time €10 gets you.
Now, €10 is equivalent to what? $9, $10. What was something
more
like
$11, $12, I think. At this point.
Okay. So about the same. About the same. It's not like yen where it's like 48 million yen is like
it's
a
pretty
50
close,
cents
if not higher than ours.
But you just yada over the best part, though. I mean, you said you picked your. How did you pick your lady?
Oh,
I mean,
right. It's like Times Square. You do a little window shopping, and that's exactly what it is. You just
literally. I've heard this. So you actually walk by a window.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chick, and is she looking at you?
Yeah,
is she like
they sometimes have a large little seating area. Sometimes it's just they're standing in a doorway with it's a window. Sometimes they're wearing obviously something scantily clad, usually at all times, and there's people that try to sort of negotiate through the window where they just where they like ask like, and they just kind of hold up a hand. 5 was like 50, 4 was 40 or whatever. So you had guys going to the ones that were saying 50 for everybody, trying like they were special to bring it back to like 40 or 30. I'm like, dude, you see how many people are here right now? She can just say that and somebody's gonna say yes.
So, okay, wait, no. So I'm so fascinated by the social interaction of this. So approximately how many guys were in your group that were looking for hookers?
I don't think everybody was at first, but I think everybody did by the end of it.
Okay, well, yeah, it's like a social thing. I mean, all your friends are doing it. You know, I want to know who that first guy was. You know,
it wasn't me, that's for sure. I don't even remember who it was, but it was some. Oh, I kind of remember who it was. It was a guy that I wasn't expecting to go in. He was one of the older guys, and he was one of the older guys, and I'm gonna leave it at that because I think he's married. So,
of course, it was one of the older guys. It was one of the guys who I guarantee had been deployed a few times. He had seen some shit.
No, since we were in the Guard, none of those guys actually had gone anywhere yet. Everybody eventually went to like either Afghanistan or Iraq. I think. Oh, I was the only guy that actually went out and had come back. They were using that trip to keep me in as well.
So, but I guess I just find it fascinating. You have the first 20 guy going, all right, I'm picking this chick. Mm-hmm. And so now
I just turned around and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, where did so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so go? Like, Oh, now I know where they went.
So, did you when you were window shopping? Were you picky, or were you like, I'm drunk, whatever, let's pick
I
this
was,
one?
I think, more hesitant than anybody else to go in, and then I kind of saw that everybody went in, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do it. But I was also mostly broke at the time as well, so I was
Yeah,
kinda
but
a little bit
and
more
at this
tighter
point, you
with my
say
money.
you were one of the last ones to go in. I mean, at this point, if you don't fuck the hooker, you're the weirdo.
Right, exactly.
You got to be.
I'm
the
like
normal.
nervous as hell, but I'm also like, I kind of have to do this now, don't I? I don't want to be that guy, especially with the crew we were running with at that point.
So this is your first time with a hooker. You go in. Can she speak English?
Yeah, enough to get by.
Right, enough to she knows hand job, blow job.
Yeah.
No, extra for a finger. She knows stuff
Right.
like that. But you go in. Approximately how long does this encounter
I
last?
think
It
most
always-
of them are like 15 minutes. You stay longer, you got to pay more and stuff like that.
Are you serious?
Yo, yeah, they have like a little egg timer sort of thing.
They
there.
do what? They have a timer in
Yeah,
the room.
oh, absolutely.
So do you have to time your climax?
Yes.
By the clock.
Essentially, yes.
I can't
And I
think
don't
of-
work well under pressure.
No, I can't think of anything that would make it more difficult for me to come than knowing I
Exactly.
have a timer by the bed.
Look, you need to be gone now, or else this costs you an extra $50, sir.
It's like a comedy show where there's a light that goes off and it lets you know you have 1 minute left. You got to wrap it up. So, were you able to pop on time? Did you get
No, not at
exactly
all.
15?
Not at all.
didn't
I
go?
went the full 15, but came out to a time limit draw.
Oh, right. Broadway.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what's the interaction like after you're done? I mean, is she nice? Is it cordial? Is she say get the fuck
kinda
out?
just business-like. It's like, oh, all right, well, it's thank you, and you kind of like. I'm a weird, awkward person as it is, so doing that, it's like, all right, I guess it's time for me to go. Let me get this on, and she was a weird one too, I think. So
How was she weird?
She was just preoccupied with a bunch of other shit. Like, she was hot and everything, but it was just it's like, why did we like, if you weren't here doing this, none of us would be talking to you right now.
Wait, why would you say
She seemed to be like on her cell phone all the time and like less interested in doing the job of what she was there for at the time.
Wait a minute. Are
Not
you saying-
not during. I mean, just.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say when you were fucking her. She was on her cell phone?
She was looking at her phone the entire time, texting.
Like the Paris Hilton sex tape.
Yeah, right.
Oh God.
The other thing that I'm just remembering now is that the problem that occurs if you wander off the beaten path, as you might say on that one, is not necessarily everyone there is a biological woman.
Oh no.
You can generally tell relatively quickly, though. But if you're drunk or really high, depending on where you are, if you're trying to save a few dollars, you may get a potential surprise.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
Now, I'm a progressive gentleman, so if that happens, it's the best of both worlds and you make do and you go along, right? But for some of those people who may not want that sort of forbidden surprise, you make sure you stick to the regular, the well-worn paths. Let's just
I'm
say
a
that.
progressive guy, but I'm going to go ahead and think that, I can think I'm as big of a lefty as possible, but the moment a dick slaps me in the face, I am probably turning into a goddamn right-wing
You mean
blowhard.
streamers don't go off and you're not wearing a party hat?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be violent, but I'm probably going to jump out the window and, try to set myself on fire for a couple of minutes. Were there any of the guys in your group that happened to?
It scared one of my friends enough to just kind of pay and leave.
Wait a minute. Wait,
he didn't.
what's
So he goes into one of the places and everything. So when you're in the room, it's the red light district for a reason. Imagine a barely lit bar at all, but it's got these purple reddish lights everywhere. So it's kind of like, it's not a black light because it doesn't show all the horrible things that you could probably see if there is a black light anywhere in Amsterdam.
like on the ceiling. Like what?
Like, how did it get there?
Yeah.
But it's just like this, like a black light without a black light is the best way I can describe it, because it's just that dim, dark light. But when they have kind of these adjoining rooms, so when they go out their little back door, they have like their dressing rooms and bathroom and like common area sort of thing in the back, but that is usually brightly illuminated fluorescent white light, and the contrast for the two is usually blinding.
I
but
get it. Yeah.
Since they're
kind of like when you wouldn't know this, but when you're at a strip club and it's last call,
right.
and then the lights come on, and then you see who you've been tipping all night,
right? And it's the same sort of situation.
So this dude sees what he thinks is a chick. She looks hot in the lighting.
No, he goes in with a biological female, but when that back door opens up, he very distinctly sees not a biological woman that is sharing a adjoining space, and it freaked him the fuck out.
Okay.
So he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. We're having a great time. Everybody's partying. Oh boy, that is. And then he got so freaked out. It's like, I need to see proof of purchase here.
Oh, did he really?
He did at one point, and even then after that, it's like, that threw a wrench into my whole system, and now here's your money. Sorry for the time, but I'm gonna go.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You say I need to see proof for the purchase. I mean, this could be a post-op.
True.
You know what I mean? And again, that could not bother you at all. Or if you were like many men, I'm sure, especially 18 years ago in the military, alpha males born and bred from a goddamn cornfield in Iowa, you do care.
Oh,
very
yeah.
great.
It's a very big deal to some people. That's why it's the thing that bugs me sometimes when I see all these discussions that happen on Twitter where you have these people making not a way too big of a deal for somebody saying something like screaming, oh, transphobia and all this and stuff like that. And then I have to tell some people, I'm like, look, there are plenty of people in the United States of America right now that are still just getting used to dudes kissing each other.
Oh my God, yes. Oh yeah.
It only just became legal for 2 men or 2 women to get married on a federal level, less than a decade ago, correct?
We live in such a large country that so many people don't realize that they are inside of a bubble. You know,
absolutely.
I got a buddy who lives in LA, and he's from Kentucky originally, and
right.
he tells me stories about how the people who live out there, they have no concept that, there are people in Southern Alabama.
Oh, no idea. Not a clue.
Who feel the way that they do. As a matter of, in fact, when Trump was running for president, Will Wheaton from The Big Bang Theory,
right.
Star Trek, TNG, he jokingly tried to start this organization to get Trump elected, like sarcastically,
right.
because he thought that it was so absolutely ludicrous that anyone would ever vote for Trump.
Right.
Hey, but it's like, no, dude, you don't understand.
No, don't poke the bear.
Right, because there are those two different Americas. There are people who don't realize.
I think there's like 17 different Americas, to be completely honest.
Oh my God!
I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of gigs that have let me travel throughout my adult life. So I've been to a bunch of different places that everywhere you go, like there's certain just sections of the states that are different fucking planets from each other.
Oh yeah.
They're just completely different worlds. Like I've lived in Georgia for a while. That's just a completely different animal than anywhere like up here than compared to say out on the West Coast. They're just different people. They have just the way they live out there. It's just like they don't even think the same way you do. It's not even close.
Well, and again, there are different parts of the same state that are worlds apart. Kentucky alone, Eastern Kentucky, part of Appalachia, which is whole West Virginia area, dude, it's fucking unbelievable. If you ever read Chris Jericho's book, where have you ever read his first book? It's
I missed the boat on all of those books when they were coming out.
Fantastic book. They aren't really ghost written in the way many other autobiographies are. But Jericho talks about how in the early 90s, he was wrestling for Smoky Mountain, the Jim Cornette owned organization, which ran in Tennessee, West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky. It ran in where I was from. Okay. Right. And Jericho tells these amazing stories, and you read them and you're like, these are real fucking people. For instance, he was approached by this 12-year-old girl who handed him this VHS tape, right? Mm-hmm. And this is in Eastern Kentucky. And she said, I love you, Chris Jericho. Here's a tape of you, Chris Jericho. And Jericho is thinking, it's going to be my best of, and he goes home and he pops it in, and it's his family. It's not his family. It's her family dancing in a trailer and farting into the camera.
What?
And on the wall, there is a picture of Jesus. And right next to Jesus, I shit you not, a picture of the Rock and Roll Express.
Well, yeah,
And
of course there is. Why wouldn't the Rock and Roll Express hold equal stature to that of Jesus Christ?
Like,
they are the greatest tag team of all time, aren't they?
Right.
Well, they're Hall of Famers.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'm sure that, Ricky has taken the heat so long that at some point he probably died for 3 days and came back and made the hot tag to Robert. That's where I'm from. That's that part of the country.
I'm sorry, that's just making me laugh, really. But why were they were farting into the camera?
Yeah, I guess it was this weird. So first of all, the story is in Chris Jericho's book. It's his first autobiography. Right. The chapter is called "Weird Kentucky People," and I guess they made.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. And I guess they made this tape though somehow, some way to impress Chris Jericho. I don't know. He doesn't know. It's a weird story. But yeah, that's
Rock and Roll Express. That's great.
That's how different the small town that I grew up in. As a matter of fact, Smoky Mountain ran a show there one time, and there was a cop, a local cop that was working security, and he pulled a gun out and aimed it at the heels because he didn't like the fact that the heels were cheating.
I'm surprised that didn't happen more often, to be honest with you.
Me too. Yeah,
because there was that's how I think I started to realize that it was all a work. Was when nobody would help. Like why are they letting the Ultimate Warrior get locked in a casket right now? Why is nobody coming? The Undertaker is going to kill him. Somebody unlock the casket.
Oh, dude, what's funny is I grew up watching wrestling, but I think that might have happened like a year before I started, right? That happened in 91. I started watching in
90s or something like that. I was one of those, it was one of those like Saturday morning shows for me up here. And I remember they had like the whatever, like the pallbearer, like
the funeral parlor.
Yeah, the funeral, that's what it was called, the funeral parlor. And yeah, that terrified me as a child. I thought they killed the Ultimate Warrior. I thought it was real.
Yeah, it was the summer of 91, and I know that because I just went and I finally watched that for the first time like 6 months ago, and I was baked as well, and I'm watching it. I was floored by how well done that segment was, man. It was.
Man. It looked real. I was terrified, and that was Saturday morning.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and the way that
p.m. on a Saturday.
The way that McMahon and Piper, who are on commentary, are selling it is so fun. There's no air in there. Oh my God!
Brilliant.
And then Piper, oh God, not like this.
And then they open it up, and there's scratches on the inside of the thing.
That's right.
It was yeah, I remember that clear as day. The guy's like coming at it with like an axe or something, or like some type of blunt or object to try and break the warrior free.
And it was fantastic, too, because that was such a weird time because the Warrior was feuding with The Undertaker. So Warrior went to Jake the Snake so Jake could help him conquer his fear to fight The Undertaker. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Warrior is teaming with Hogan to face General Adnan and Sergeant Slaughter at SummerSlam. Right. Warrior was like interacting with like 9 different people at that time, and then he quit the company or got fired, and then it all went to shit.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the actual storylines from those times because I think it's probably just because I ended up being in such a in the moment person. Like I'll remember the stuff I've seen, but I won't go back and like remember all the stuff around the stuff, you know what I mean? Like I remember those moments. Like I remember I remember the Ric Flair Macho feud where he found all the pictures.
Oh yeah,
the doctored photos.
Yeah, she's wearing nothing but the staples on the paint.
And it's just brilliant. But yeah, and then I disappear and I got back in and I lost where I was going.
I'm kind of the opposite of that. I can remember only things from wrestling to the point where I have to associate.
I've never been a historian about it.
I have to associate things in my life that I want to remember with wrestling. Like I know my brother's birthday, I know it because it's the same day as Ric Flair. It's February 25th. And like
I don't know whether that makes me like you even more or feel bad for you.
You know what? It's weird, man. I was a wrestler for a few years and I had multiple concussions, and I guarantee it fucked up my memory.
Up again.
Yeah, it has to be, man. Like we'll go on vacation and it's like, okay, we're in room 3. Okay, we'll just think room 3, Hogan, Andre, WrestleMania 3. Okay. And my girlfriend's
That's
like,
such a bizarre level of like autistic thinking. That is...
Oh, it is. It totally is. It totally is. I mean, like, or you know, for instance, like, you know, I'll have like a PIN number on my ATM card. And by the way, for anyone listening, this is fake, but it'll be like, okay, so it's 0412. That's my PIN number. Well, obviously, that's the tournament to crown the championship. And then WrestleMania 12 is Iron Man. So tournament Iron Man's my PIN number. I can't be the only one who does that, right?
I don't know. You can tell us on at Obtuse Podcast on Twitter or at the WHPC on Twitter. Then let us know if you have some weird, bizarre, obsessive, compulsive routines that you have to associate with wrestling.
Yeah, I have to, man, because to me, it's like I have a math learning disability, which I'm sure comes as a shock to absolutely everyone listening right now. But to me, numbers are just abstract concepts that aren't associated with anything. So if I associate it with the one thing I can remember, it works. I know it's weird.
No,
I know
that at least makes sense, because some people just don't we'll just associate weird things or just have this compulsion to do whatever it is. At least that has some sort of logic behind it instead of just being completely arbitrary and weird out of nowhere.
Right. Well, yeah, I would assume so. Sure. Yeah. But I was going to say earlier, now that we've taken a 45-minute detour here,
yeah, right?
And this story,
which is how it has gone every time that we've kind of done something together. Which is because I had an idea of where I kind of wanted to go and things like that, and we just kind of just went into completely left field. But I think that's why I like having you on so damn much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, no, I was just going to say, you know, this is absolutely just is you know, shadowed by your fantastic hooker story. But you're talking about going to the VA.
Right.
45 minutes ago, I was going to say I have a buddy who went to the VA and he got his vasectomy there.
Okay.
And apparently you should not get a vasectomy at the VA because they will not numb you, as he learned.
No.
They tried to numb him. It didn't work, and he literally felt everything.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What?
He said that he saw Jesus, and he is an atheist. Think about that.
That's bananas. I don't know. Yeah, all right. Well, note to self, not doing that at the VA. I would not. Yeah, oh my God. That's got to be horrifying.
Oh, yeah. No, he's told me that story many times, man. He's told me some pretty freakish stories when it comes to health. You know, I'm not going to go into any of the darker stuff that he saw over there. But one dark thing that he saw, and this doesn't involve ISIS, not today, ISIS. He had a buddy. They were over there. They were deployed, you know, in one of those nations. I don't know. They're all the same. Am I right about that? And
Your fake FM laugh stuff is one of the funniest things that I love about listening to your podcast, because I can hear your repressed rage from doing FM radio shine through on that show so goddamn much, and it's something that you can only tell when you've worked in FM. That somebody kind of has that like lurking deep down inside, because there's so much bullshit that you have to deal with as far as like standards and practices on FM and stuff like that. So when you do that, like the wacky thing, it's just one of those things where it's like, if I have to do this again, I'm going to murder somebody.
Yeah, man. You can hear my repressed FM rage every time I say the word fuck or shit or cunt or make an absolutely horrifying joke that I could not make on the Soccer Mom station that I'm currently on. By the way, love my current job. It's a fantastic radio.
Oh no, they're good paying gigs. It's just those you have to. There's a personality thing that you have to do a workaround sometimes, and I know I cannot do that anymore. So, which is why I'm so happy to be working for Gas Digital, because it's just a bunch of guys that pretty much saw what Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony were doing, and then were also comics in New York City, and they kind of came together, put a bunch of their shows on, and said, "Fuck it, we can do whatever the hell we want."
And that's exactly why I started the Obtuse Angles podcast. Right there I was just so sick of doing the same shit every day. Going back to my buddy who was in the military, though, he had a buddy when they were over there deployed, and his friend was like, "Hey, I can take a shit while doing a handstand," and his friends did not believe that he could do it. So he gets up and he does a handstand, and he starts desperately trying to shit. And nothing is coming out because, maybe his body wasn't cooperating, or maybe he was experiencing stage fright at the moment, but he's pushing the shit out. No. Finally, a little pebble shoots out of this guy's ass while he's doing a handstand, but he pushes so hard that a pink sleeve popped out. His anus prolapses. And he falls down, and all the guys there had to concoct a story, and the dude wound up getting a Purple Heart. True story.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. That I wouldn't put it past. So with some of the people that I know that have made it in and out of the military, that's probably one of the more tamer things that I could have seen.
Yeah.
Because you just see, it takes the weirdest people into the military. Holy shit. It takes I just don't know how you have enough pressure to blow out your own asshole. That's the real question. Like how much pounds per square inch does it take to blow out a butthole?
That is I think that's a t-shirt right there. That's a very sophisticated math equation, but what, you're
exactly. Right. And one you already said, I'm sorry, because I apologize, I might have triggered you because I know you have a numbers issue, so I apologize.
Well, I do, and I also have butthole issues. If you've listened to the show in the past, I've had
triggered now.
I know a lot of triggers here. No, I've had a lot of chronic constipation myself. So as somebody who has wrestled with hemorrhoids, I know that I've pushed very hard. So one would assume that if you could blow out an asshole just by pushing, it would have happened to me. But I guess that just shows this guy had a powerful asshole or a weak one. I don't know.
Which was the episode where you guys had that awful hemorrhoid story? Was that the weirdest things on the internet, or was that the fucked up things people did? I forgot. I remember you had some guy pushing with bullets, the hemorrhoids back in, or some disgusting thing like that.
Yeah, no, I thought you were talking about my hemorrhoid story, which
that was horrible too. But
man, my hemorrhoid story, it's so funny because it was a real thing that happened, and I told it in the show, and you can go check it out right now. I just thought it was, I thought it was kind of gross, but still, that was like a year ago. People once a week tweet us at Obtuse Podcast to mention how disgusting that hemorrhoid story was. Now, the one you're referring to was about a month or two ago. It was the weirdest things found inside people, and it was this dude in England, and he was an old World War II veteran, and he had terrible hemorrhoids, and they would literally get stuck on his underwear. Like that's how much they would.
Oh my God.
And he was, I guess, being a veteran.
You let that go,
dude. If you've lived through World War II, and you had Nazis shooting at you.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what? Fuck it. I mean, what's a hemorrhoid? And he would shove his hemorrhoids back up in his ass with these giant bullets, and he got a bullet stuck up in his ass.
Know the exact caliber on a hemorrhoid pusher?
Actually, the story that I read really did have but it was a huge bullet. That's why when they were doing surgery, he had to inform them that he had a bullet in his asshole, and they had to call the bomb squad to get the bullet out of his ass. So yeah, true story.
I almost have to defend Jeremy a little bit as well for on the fucked up things on the internet thing. There's more than a few of those that I had at least heard about from him, if not seen for myself for sure.
Oh,
So-
see, I guess I was just behind. Yeah, we talked about in most because what that episode was it just degenerated into the weirdest porn on the
Right.
internet.
Well, yeah. Well, what doesn't like half your shows either devolve into some sort of thing like that, or some weird sex story, or shitting themselves? Sort of
Oh yeah,
thing?
no, they are. Oh yeah, speaking of shitting yourself, you told me. So we had an episode in our show.
I forgot
It
about that.
was completely dedicated to times that you shit yourself. And being as how right now I have to go, I got to go do some shopping and stuff. I can't think of a better way to end.
Yeah.
And
Probably
I'm just taking the reins of your show. by the
No,
way.
I like it. I'm because it gives me a chance to sit back for once, because
Right.
I'm usually constantly driving the show over here, and Josh is just kind of along for the ride for at least that portion of it. So it's nice to have somebody that has got the you have a much firmer steering hand. Let's say that.
Well, it's because I masturbate so much.
There you
But
go.
so
See, I wasn't
can't-
gonna bring that up, but feel what you want to tell the public. That's up to you.
Well, and I am, and it's public record in many cases. But I can't think of a more appropriate way to end this show with you telling your story on how you shit yourself recently. Right? This happened recently.
Yeah, there was my weekend was starting off pretty good. I've had a pretty nice weekend. I didn't do anything today, but was this Friday, Saturday? We go. I'm with my friends. We were playing wiffle ball at one point, and I forget whether it was because I had been eating like a pile of garbage again, which is probably what it was, and then drinking relatively heavily through most of the late afternoon into early evening for sure. And there was a cauldron of something. Brewing and bubbling for quite a few hours at that point. It filled with maybe bits of no, there wasn't tequila that night, but lots of light beverages, terrible food, and whatever other bodily harm I was inflicting upon myself for the evening. And I had been letting those go for about the better part of 2 hours, because sharing is caring. And if you can smoke out a porch, or at least have the door locked while everybody's outside and forced to smell it, that's really funny to me.
I've been there before. Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
my friend Marcos at one point, like I forget what exactly he shouted at me. It's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I just ripped a gasser that to other people said it sounded like it came out of a fart machine, so they didn't think it was real.
Those are always the best ones. But it seems like whenever I rip one of those comical ones, one of those Hall of Fame ones, no one else is ever around to enjoy it.
It's incredibly disappointing when you don't have somebody to share that with.
But
So-
you had a whole audience, which is good.
Well, yeah. So it just was one of those perfectly timed things where you just had it, and then your response is that colossally awesome gasser, and then I'm like, "Oh, did it smell that bad?" It's like, Jesus Christ! It smells like somebody died inside of your lower asshole. So a little time goes by, and I'm finally just headed into the bathroom there to take care of myself, wash up, and then eventually leave. But I felt one of those coming, and I thought I could trust it. It'd be perfectly fine. And it's just one of those comically loud ones, and I'm giggling to myself. It's like, it's another one. And then I guess the dam didn't close in time as it started to leak into the water supply.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
no.
I now had to figure out how to get myself and dirty underwear out of this party at somebody else's house
Oh
without
man,
getting noticed for the fact that I just pretty much left a small log in my pants.
I have been there before on numerous occasions, which again is what prompted our show to have that episode. I've clogged a toilet at a party that was.
Those are the worst.
Oh man, and it was owned. The house. It was a house party. The house was owned by 4 hot chicks who lived right next to me. So
Brutal.
that ruined my entire year. And it was like at the beginning of the year I began living at that house. So that was just the worst
Just
thing
started
ever.
off on the perfect foot.
The girl literally walked into the bathroom and said, "Who shits at a party?" I was like, "Well, someone that needs to go."
I have one more if you want to hear it too.
Yeah, I've farted and I've had it run down my leg when I was wearing shorts, so I had to moonwalk into the bathroom, hoping that no one was wondering why I was. Oh yeah, no. So I've been there, kid. I understand. Yeah, what's your other one?
The other one was when I must have been back from Iraq for about 6 to 8 months at this point. But one of the things they don't tell you when you spend that much time in a country like that with only eating like the military cafeteria food is that when you come back to stateside, there's like, I guess, different enzymes in the food or the way you break things down, or maybe I was just eating like a pile of garbage, but I wasn't eating that pile of garbage for that long. But the noxious fumes that my body was both creating and omitting every time I ate was the most lethal thing I could have ever thought of. Like they were like it could be a toxin if you contained it in the right space.
That had to be freaking you out, right? I mean, at that point, you had
it was
no
bad.
idea.
It was bad. Like it was like dead animals were trying to crawl out of my butt at all times when I had to fart. It was just noxious.
And did that make you shit yourself?
No, that wasn't what did it, but I knew that like any time that I had eaten when I came home, I had to kind of go to the bathroom within a certain amount of time because that's just what was happening. So we had just went to Five Guys. I had a wonderful tasty burger at Five Guys.
Sounds so good.
And then we're going to get some beers at the gas station or wherever it was, and I'm walking in. This is maybe 10, 15 minutes from leaving the burger joint, and we're just talking about beers, and it's like, oh, hey, maybe you can get that one because I think it's that time of year, and I have to go to the bathroom right now because at that exact moment, there was no controlling anything. It was just, okay, we have to go right now.
You are a slave to your asshole.
Oh, yeah. And it was one of those where it jumps you by surprise, and the next thing you know, you already know before you get there that you have to change your pants. Like, you don't. There's not even a question. You know that, well, whatever I am wearing right now has to either be abandoned in the bathroom or washed or concealed so that the whole world doesn't know I completely shit myself.
If I had a nickel for every time I had to throw away a pair of soiled underwear in a bathroom bin, it's pathetic. I know. No, you know what? If I had a nickel, I would probably say 75 cents. That's a lot, though.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
As an adult male, how many were like pre-adulting?
Oh no, they were all adulting. No, I was able to control my asshole until I turned 18, and then the shit's on or off, I guess.
Like sort of a reverse Benjamin Button.
Yeah, you know that you're not the first person to say that, which is scary. My bowels were literally reversed. Yeah, exactly.
We just found the name of the episode, Reverse Benjamin Button.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you can go ahead and name the episode, and I'm going to go, speaking of which, probably take a shit right now. So
sounds good to me. And they can follow, everybody can follow you where?
Yeah, I am on Twitter at FunnymanFields. I'm also on Instagram there. You can follow the Obtuse Angles podcast with Kyle and Jeremy at Obtuse Podcast. And we're on iTunes, Stitcher, all forms of blah, 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 blah. Also, obtuseangles.libsyn.com. We've been doing the show for over 3 years. We are hashtag evergreen, man. We started off as a bad comedy wrestling podcast. Since then, we have moved into bad pop culture, the macabre, murders, disappearances. This week, we are talking the North Hollywood shootout, one of the most fascinating and violent. Yeah, did you know about that one?
Yeah, it was all over the news. The guys with the body armor and everything.
Yes.
For like hours on end, they're just in like SWAT teams can't even take them down and stuff.
Super fascinating story. So we got that episode. So yeah, check us out.
And if you like anything you've heard here, or if you like the Obtuse Angles podcast, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Go to the Apple Podcast link. You have no idea how much a nice 5-star review and a subscription and everything helps us all out. Follow us at the WHPC on Twitter, Facebook.com/World Heavyweight Podcast, thewhpc.podbean.com. Kyle, thank you again. It's been a wonderful pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
I'm Howie Farrell, and we'll see you guys next week.
Stadler? Yeah, what?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.